about the sector that they are in and the kind of opportunity it throws up for players such as Pearl Global. But let's talk about the visibility going forward. We've got Pallab Banerjee, MD at Pearl Global Industries, joining in on the show right now. Pallab, hi, morning. Another strong quarter for you with the top line growth of more than 24%. Margins also expanded. Tell me, what were the levers and whether you see FY27 also closing in with this kind of a performance?
First of all, thank you for having me on your show. Yes, it has been a better quarter for us. And what we see is the order book and the business is trending similar for the visibility that we have for the next 2 quarters as of now. But the world macro factors are changing very frequently at this point of time. If I have to really point out what are the reasons, what we saw is that despite the Middle East disturbance and the Iran war, we didn't see a big change in the consumer behavior in the Western markets for the first 5 months so far. So that has helped us to gain back that business, because last year at this point of time we had a huge tariff overhang especially from the US market, and this year that thing has moved out. Similar to what we had in 2022 when the Ukraine war happened. That time really the consumer behavior had really changed. So this war didn't change the consumer behavior. So that's something I think was, I would say, more of a normal market, consumer behavior market, which helped us because we have been really growing after the growth, acquiring new customers, increasing the wallet share of our existing customers, and growing internally in terms of our capacity. So these 3 things definitely helped us in this situation.
Pallab, you've been spending quite some time in the US, and therefore you have a better grip of what's playing out. How are you standing out in the marketplace? There are plenty of competitors right out there.
So how Pearl Global has positioned itself is that we have production across 5 different countries. We are producing in India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Guatemala. The current macro situation, which is very frequently changing, and this whole tariff discussion that has been happening country-wise. So somehow, Pearl gets a cushion because we have mitigated the risk by going into various different countries where we have our own manufacturing units. So that has definitely helped and built up the confidence in our customers. Second, we do produce about 7 different categories of apparels. If you go to a retail store, then you will find various different categories. You have got denim on one hand, you would have knit polo t-shirts or an outerwear jacket. So there are many of these categories. So we do produce a whole gamut of product for our customers. So these 2 are definitely very attractive to our customers. Like we are mitigating both in terms of various categories, what is coming into fashion or what's trending, as well as the country diversification that we have. Internally, we have 5 different markets where we really focus upon. But yes, US is still about 50% of our total sales.
And Pallab, margins also getting better for you and progressively better. How much of this is tariff driven? How much of this is scale driven? Because the FY28 revenue target of 6,000 crore, how much will that aid your margins? But just how much is it pure efficiency as well as US tariffs? How much of it is that component?
A very valid question, Hers. Definitely, as the top line number grows, the benefit of the volume definitely comes in. The leverage of the volume definitely comes in. So that's why, we have been saying that as we grow as a company, definitely the bottom line will grow faster for us. Because we have invested in our design and overseas services that we provide to our customers in all the countries like Spain, like UK, US, Japan. So all this is definitely an overhead cost. So as the volume grows, definitely it mitigates. Second part is last year, definitely we had a tariff overhang where countries like India, we were paying heavy discounts, whatever we are shipping from India to US. Other countries also, there were some discounts, but it was much lesser. So those 2 things has moved out. So both of these have played when you talk about the bottom line.
Pallab, so geographically, tell me which geography for you is currently seeing the strongest demand momentum? Is it India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia, Guatemala? And accordingly, where is it that you are constructing the biggest capacity expansion?
From customer point of view, at this point of time, it's quite neutral. Like, India had an overhang of the tariff last year, but with that thing settling, like, once the Supreme Court ruling came up and also US government responded very well. So after that, I think that problem is solved. So at this point of time, from customer point of view, they're not specific about you have to produce in this particular country or this region is better than the other. What we find is, as the China Plus One played over the last decade, we found that Vietnam and Bangladesh, these two countries, did very well in our sector, in our garment sector. And it's still doing sizably well. But Indian government has been really focusing on this sector. And in the last 3 years, we have a lot of movement, a lot of positive movement that has come in. So which makes us confident in India as well. So these are three countries that is doing very well. Indonesia also, we find there is a lot of potential. In fact, if we look at our manufacturing setups, these are all the strongest hubs of apparel manufacturing. So that's definitely helping us, and we see quite a good. Specifically, when you ask about where our investments are going on, yes, Bangladesh, we had committed a greenfield project last year, so that's coming into completion. Vietnam, also, we have a greenfield project that will be starting soon. And in India, we have really grown the capacity over the last 2 years. So that as we use more and more of that capacity, we'll see a growth in our numbers.
Okay, Pallab, thank you so much for joining us, giving us that perspective. Longer conversation warranted for sure, but we're stretched today. But thank you for coming in and speaking to us.
Thank you so much.